Par 3 mistakes, we make a lot of them, but today I'm going to solve them. And tip number 1, all about using a T-peg. The game is already hard and you've got the chance on a par 3 to peg it up. The amount of times that I play with mates who are maybe mid to high handicappers and they just sort of, that'll do. Yeah, I'll just hit it from there. And then when they get on the fairway, they complain about the lie that they've got. Yes, the teeing ground's normally cut quite nicely and you can get a nice lie, but just pop it on a peg. It makes it nice and simple. And also, on that note, when we do pop it on a peg, don't do this if you've got an iron out, please. Don't put it that high, because look at this. If I get that ball that high, I'm going to hit the top grooves there, and that isn't going to do me any favours, because if I hit this part of the golf club, I'm going to lose a lot of distance. So make sure when you do peg it up, you just have the little cup of the tee sat down into the ground, so when you put it there, when you think that you're going to get ball and turf, that ball is nicely aligned out of the centre of the face. Super simple, every golfer can do that, and it makes par 3s a heck of a lot easier. Use a tee, just pop one in. Right, next thing that we need to do when we're on par 3s. I've come to the 13th hole here at Warrington. The flag, luckily for me today, is actually in the middle of the green. So on the plate it says 152, we're about 4 yards in ahead of it, so it's going to be 148. I've zapped it and it's 147. Now a lot of people walk up here and go, ah, the flag's in the middle, that means it's my 6 iron. Not the case. Today it's gone colder. It's dropped about 4 or 5 degrees from what it was yesterday and the day before, so that's probably going to make me lose about 4 or 5 yards because the ball's not going to fly as far. Also, the wind is coming from left to right today. So as I want to play this shot as I stand here, I'm a fader of the golf ball. So I'm actually going to hit it into the wind to start off with, and then it's going to come back on the wind. So that initial speed that comes off that ball is actually going to get harmed because I'm hitting into the wind. So when you walk up onto the tee, try and take account a little bit of like where the tee is relative to the markers, maybe where the flag is it front, back, middle, and also is it warm, is it cold, is the wind into, is it down, is it across? Because straight away those 4 or 5 things that I've just mentioned could go from you hitting a 6 iron to a driver in some cases, maybe even a wedge in the other circumstance. So don't just walk up, and this is probably the case for if you're a member at a golf club, and think, 13th hole, yep, 6 iron. Try and just take a little bit into account. And also, how have you played on the previous 12 holes? Have you actually hit it all right today? Because if not, that 6 iron that you normally hit and you've been hitting it poorly is probably now a 5 iron. So just be a little bit more aware of your club selection. So for me, 147, wind's down there. I've just pulled 9 because that's my normal 150 club. I'm actually going to take an 8 iron out here and hit this one because I want to hit it into the wind. I can hit a little bit more of a 3/4 shot and know that safely will get all the way back to that flag. There we go. Just pulled it a little bit. Oh, and I found a bunker, and that takes me nicely onto my next tip. When you're playing par 3s, the likelihood is that there are a lot more obstacles for you to avoid out up near the green. Generally, we'll probably see one more bunker than we would do on a par 4. We might see water, we might see deep rough, we might see fallaways. Because they're short, we get suckered into the perception of, oh, well, I can tee it up, it's a short hole, it's easy. They're probably the trickiest holes on the golf course for that reason, that they are shorter generally. The designers of the course want to lure us in. So when you do play your par 3s, just take into account what's actually up there. As we look now, we can actually see that there is 3 bunkers on this hole, and there's also a big fall away to the right. Now, at the back of the green, there's not that much trouble. So I would be able to actually play beyond the centre of the green, regardless of where the flag is. And if I get it passed up towards the back, I'm actually going to have a pretty simple chip. So that again goes back to my second tip that I talked about, distances. I want to get past there. So actually that 147 flag that I'm going to hit to is now actually almost playing the best part of 160, because if I hit it to the back of the green, I've got a simple 2-putt. So be aware of the obstacles that are on that green, and maybe try and play a little bit more to the back. Now, if there's out of bounds, if there's water beyond the back of the green, be wary of that. But a top tip I would say is try and play to the back of every par 3 green you face, because now I went up to the 8 iron because that 9 iron would be my normal distance. I'm actually just going to try and hit this one towards the back of the green and a little bit more central to avoid that bunker. I'm almost playing away from the flag here. And it's a nice strike. And I've literally just got to the back. It's spinning back a little bit and I'm safer there. So for me, going from 9 to 8 to then playing to the back, I've actually got a good birdie opportunity. The final thing that I want you to do is think about your shot shape. Now, you might be a golfer who has a slice. You might be someone who's drawing it. Think about how that is going to affect how you play your hole as well, because here, the trouble's all up the left. So as a fader, I'm aiming at the trouble. So again, as I go to play this hole, maybe me not getting near the flag is actually a good shot. As where if I try and play that fade, I've actually almost got to start it over the trouble. And if it doesn't quite happen, we saw what happened in shot 1. I was in the bunker. I'm now pretty much dead. As where the flag is today, situated in the middle, if I play a fade off the flag, I'll be 20 foot right, but I'll be safe, or vice versa. If I wanted to play a bit of a draw, I could actually bring it back to the flag on that line. So be aware, even like I say, if you're not the best golfer in the world or you're just getting started out, think of how that shot's actually going to work. It doesn't mean that you have to be always landing it right next to the stick. It could be 20, 30, 40, 50 feet right of the flag, left of the flag, but that would be better than trying to think, oh, well, I'm a slicer here on this hole. I'm actually just going to slice it over all the trouble and bring it back, as well. I could actually just play a bit more central and try and find the green in that way. So for me, again, a bit more centered at the flag this time, almost trying to hit it a little bit right of the flag and a little bit long with my fade. And do you know what? This is going to be the closest shot of all of them, and I've not even tried to get it near the flag there. So 2 golf balls on the green out of 3, all because I'm using better strategies when I play there. It's not about striking it the best sometimes, it's sometimes about how we think about these holes. So take those tips into account, think about the trouble, think about playing to that back distance, how does your shape fit in with the hole, and from there we should stop making those mistakes on par 3s and maybe start to get the odd par. Guys, hope you've enjoyed it. Sub if you like it. See you in your next lesson.